Hey everyone, today we're doing a carb clean on these older Yamahas and I'm going to guide you through it. I'm trying the voiceover method this time and I'd like to hear your guys' comments because I feel I can better describe my work and really explain it a lot better to you guys if I do the voiceover here rather than me talking and wrenching at the same time. So this will cover about, I don't know, 20 years or so of two-stroke motors. So let's get started. First off, take your recoil off. It's only three 10mm bolts. They're really not necessary to have to pull off the recoil, but that airbox out front is really a pain to get out if you don't have it. So for the 15 seconds that it takes to pull off that recoil, just pull those bolts and swing that thing to the side and it'll make the whole job a lot easier. Next off, we're gonna pull off our fuel line. Those tabs can be a little bit of a pain. As you can see here in the video, I'm struggling. You can pull it off before, or you can wait a little bit and pull it off once your carburetor's loose. Sometimes it's easier to do it when the carb's bolted on like that, but either way, get that fuel line off. Next, we're going to pull our two 10mm bolts out of our intake, pull them right out and get rid of them, and then we're going to put it to the left there, our intake, because there's a notch that the choke sits in, and then we're going to pop off this little plastic tab that my middle finger's on there. I just popped it. Now you can bring this intake to the left a little bit and it'll come right out of there. Next, we're going to do our linkages. I just using whatever screwdriver I had there and I just popped off that little clip. They're really simple to do. Pop that off, and then you have a Phillips head on your rod here. Don't be worried about where that goes. I'll show you after. You just spin that off and then it'll slide right out of there, and as you can see, I pull off the fuel line there. So once the carb's on the bench, we'll guide you through on how to do it. You got to pull off your float bowl here. You can use the same Phillips you just used in the previous step. Pull off all those bolts, set that to the side, and then we're going to pull off our float. You can get away with just loosening this screw just a little bit, and then you can give your float and needle a twist and that rod will slide out of there, or you can choose to pull that Phillips right out of there if you really wish to. Pull off your rubber cap there. That'll expose our main jet and our pilot jet. Right here, I'm going to pull out the main jet. Just a flathead screwdriver will pull that out. I have that one actually ground down to fit into certain carburetors. So that's why that screwdriver looks a little funny. Then you're going to give your carb a smack there. It'll pull out your emulsion tube there. And then there is a small flathead. You're going to need a really small one, which I just have on the end of a socket, and you can pull out your pilot jet. It's way down in there. Give that a screw out. As you can see, I just have it adapted to a socket style one because I don't have a screwdriver small enough. I happened to break that not long ago and don't have a replacement yet. So pop them out. Then we're going to go over to our top cover here. That it just basically covers up it where all your fuel runs through to your different circuits up there. So we'll clean that up as we have the carb apart. So the next step, you're going to want to clean you can blow out your circuits with air. Everybody has different methods. Just to make the carb look nicer, I'm putting it through the parts washer just because I have one and I can do it. Just makes it a nicer job. Always be sure to wear gloves. So clean it up, and then to get the parts cleaner residue off, I hit it with brake clean and just wash everything off and get that all cleaned up. I spray through all the jet holes. If you have a really dirty carb, you're going to want to blow air through them, but in my case, mine wasn't that dirty, so you just blow through them with brake cleaner and make sure they're clean. Again, with the float bowl, I just give it a little quick wash. Yes, I know that the rubber O-ring is on the float bowl still. I've cleaned hundreds of carburetors with that and never had the brake clean swell that rubber. I know you're supposed to take out all your gaskets and rubber pieces. Anyways, to our next step here. I just spray through everything. Make sure that you get that brake cleaner or carb cleaner, whatever you choose. I use brake clean just because it's cheaper and does the same job. You spray through all your jets to make sure all the crud's out of them, and then to verify that they're clean, I always take a flashlight and put it behind, or I put it up to a window, and you can see there, you can see through those 2 holes, you can see through those other 2 holes, and then we'll flip it here and we'll look right in there, and you can see right through there and verify it's nice and round. Some guys push stuff through them. I don't like to do that. There you can verify you got a nice clean hole there in the main, and then here you got your drilled holes through the side of your emulsion tube. You want to make sure they're all clean, so you just shine light through there. It's hard to show on camera, but I just want to get the gist through to you guys. So clean that up, make sure it's all clean, I should say, and make sure everything in the bowl or everything all over is clean. There's no crud sitting in there or rust particles, whatever. Make sure it's all good and we're ready for reassembly. Look at your needle, make sure that there's no ridge worn in that. If it looks nice, you can reassemble it. So slide that back in. Again, I just slide it underneath that screw and tighten it down. Make sure it moves freely, and then we're ready for our jets. That emulsion tube will only go in one way. Just kind of tap it in there, it'll rattle down into place. Then put your main in, and I always just give these a little snug up, guys, just with your screwdriver. I'm sure if you really got technical there would be a torque spec for it, but just a good snug. I mean, you don't want them too tight because they are just brass, so tighten them up. And this is one of the more simple carburetors to clean, probably honestly one of the most simple designs ever. I always blow through that fuel pump inlet there just to blow crud through there, just to make sure it's all run through. So that's what I just did. You can put your rubber plug right in there again, and now we're ready to put our float bowl on. You can reuse that gasket. I always reuse them. Yamaha spec probably tells you to get new ones, but anyways, throw it on. I've never had one leak. Tighten it up, and once you have your float bowl on, we're ready to flip the carburetor over. We can now throw in our 4 bolts. By the way, these bolts are shorter than the ones on your float bowl. If you tend to confuse the 4 bolts, those ones are the shorter of the 4, and the longer ones go in the float bowl, if there was any confusion on you losing them. Right there, that's where some might have a idle air mixture. Later ones are capped off with that brass cap for emissions laws. On some of them you can actually pull them out, but anyways, I'm just checking the reeds here. Just push on them, make sure there's a bit of a spring, and then slide your carb on that rod. And you don't tighten that linkage just yet. Get that on, and then your timing advance linkage, we're gonna throw that on here. I'm going to throw the air box in here just to wedge it in. You got to slide it over that plastic piece where my thumb is, above that Phillips head. You slide it in there, and then I just loosely throw the 10mm bolts in here just to kind of hold everything together. Since your air box is already over your choke plunger piece, you can go ahead and tighten that. Tighten those screws if you want to. Put your linkages on, as you can see me doing there. Pop on your one for your choke, and then you're ready to go ahead and you can tighten up your 10mm bolts going into the air box. Again, just snug them up. I just run them in with the electric ratchet, and then I just kind of give it a little twist by hand at the end. We're pretty well done now. Make sure everything moves fine. As you can see there, to set, you just want to bring it back to idle position, and your rod will stick out there, and you just have a little bit of slack in there, and you can tighten that down. You'll see the marks on that rod, but just put it back in the same spot you pulled it off on. Put your fuel line back on. Again, it's a little bit of a pain, but get that on. Make sure your cable is clicked in there for your recoil safety lock out there. Make sure it's clipped into there, or it will rub through, guys. A lot of guys miss that, and I've found them rubbed through before. Throw your 10mm bolts back in, and we are done the process, guys. Thanks for watching, everyone, and I hope this helped you clean your carburetor on your 9.9 and 15. This should cover many years. Please let me know what I could do better in the videos. I tried to give you guys really good camera angles and everything to show everything, and I hope I was detailed enough to show you how to clean your carburetor. This carburetor was pretty clean, and this is our rental fleet, so they get taken care of and maintained very well. But this year, since it's been a few years, we're pulling off every carburetor and impeller, doing complete jobs on these motors just for preventative maintenance to us, so we don't have issues in the summer. Anyways, I hope this helps you. If, like I say, if your carburetor is more dirty, there's extra steps, more cleaning and stuff, but that's how I do them. You don't have to run them through a parts washer. Just a can of brake clean is fine, or carburetor clean. Brake cleaner's a lot cheaper, just a tip, and I think they're pretty well the same thing. That's all I ever use. But I just run them through the parts cleaner just to make them look nice and clean up the oil residue and stuff. It's just nicer to work on. So anyways, thanks again for watching, and I hope this helps you get your 9.9 or 15 up and running, or just do preventative maintenance to it. Please tune into the channel for more content. I'm going to be trying to upload a lot of marine stuff this year. As always, guys, thanks for watching, and please give the channel a like and a subscribe. If my videos interest you, please click on my channel and check out my other videos.